Good morning. Today's a big ride. It's a Saturday, 8:50 a.m. and I'm already in Granada, which is about 4 hours away from home. I got up very early and drove here, and I'm going to climb the Veleta, which is a mountain here. It's a big climb, 2.7k elevation gain, and about 45k one way from here. Enjoy the experience with me. I'm starting by cycling out of Granada and going towards a town called Monachil, and from there the climb will start. The more steeper climb will start. I think it will start around 10% gradient. So far it says I'm off the route. I uploaded the route a little bit too early, and then I just used some route of a friend, but then I actually found a place where I wanted to park the car, so cycling from there. I think the route will take me about 5 hours today, maybe less. No idea how to estimate that, but it's 2.7k climb. I can climb around 700-800 meters per hour, but then at elevation probably I will not be able to do that, and I don't know how fast can I descend. So in terms of nutrition, I have 2 bottles with me. Each has around 80 grams of carbs. One of them has some lime juice, both have salts, and then one other has BCAA, 5 grams. Other than that, I have 3 bars with some nuts and stuff, so just some solid foods. And also, for some reason, I assumed that I'm going to be climbing a completely empty road, which maybe it is, I don't know. So far, it looks like it's useless, but I have a half a liter, just small plastic bottle that I filled. I can refill my my bottles on the bike, and then I'll throw it away, just to have extra fluids, not to count on finding water, which I think shouldn't be a problem. Now I have the first climb, 6% at 1.3k at 6%. Here comes the first part of the climb. Almost 9k at 8% average, with one very flat section. So I think it's actually among the more steep of what it's gonna be today, here and then at the very end as well. So far the vibe gets a little bit like it's a ski resort, which it is in winter. 12% grade. I'm closing in on some first group that is climbing at a moderate pace. There was a guy who passed me. I think he was pushing like 300 watts. Makes no sense given how far it is to go, unless you're very, very, very strong, like he probably is. It goes hard and weird. Right now it's around 11-12%, but it's so steady in terms of the views and the gradient and everything that you get used to it, and it doesn't look like such a big gradient. But on my easiest gear I'm going quite slow, and the power confirms that the gradient is high. But yeah, emotionally it looks and feels like it's not so high. But right now it's just important not to burn all the matches before the elevation. This is pretty. This is where I came from, at the bottom. $12K in. almost at like a quarter of the way up. Here's the view. It gets more and more epic, but it's not very high so far. I climbed only around 500 meters so far, which means there's a lot more to go. Yeah, no, okay, I climbed 700, but that's only a quarter of the way to climb up. But now there should be some place to, yeah, to go flat a little bit easier and faster. I just had the first piece of small descent, maybe 5% gradient for, I don't know, just like a few hundred meters. Now going up 10% grade again. And it's very cold actually. So even though I'm sweating and it's sunny and it's a little bit hot to climb, but it's still 20 degrees. So actually, probably I will need to put on a gilet closer to the top. And 100% good that I have it for the descent, because it's really cold. And actually I can see the snow already from here. Right now I'm at about maybe 1400 meters of elevation, so actually not very high yet, but yeah, still more to come. 15k in, and I descended onto what is the main road going towards Pico Veleta from Granada. It's quite a wide road with very good tarmac, much better than what I had just a few minutes ago. And I'm going to be descending on that road all the way down. So I'm taking slightly different routes up and down. And here, yeah, there's a lot more cars. But yeah, the road is much wider and okay for them to pass. Finally, I drank enough to get rid of my water bottle. That is just a thin plastic bottle that I had from before. And yeah, so there is some race going on, I think, because I was passing a few people with race numbers. And also my bike computer says that I started my final climb of the day, which is 25 kilometers at 7% gradient. That should be my biggest climb ever by far. Yeah, so it doesn't look brown at any point, and the way back is so fast. Oof. The road is so wide and there's not so steep turns, so I should be very fast way down. Not sure, maybe within an hour, maybe I'll do it. 45k an hour average, I think should be even doable. And yeah, so this is where it's nice to have a radar, because I hear a car and I actually have my bike computer beeping before I hear the car, so I can take towards the right a little bit and let it pass. And the same would be on the descent, but I think with that descent I don't think anyone is passing me. I'm sure there's something happening. There's a feed station. Which is, yeah, nice. Looks like there's some hill climb or something. So I asked the guy, one of the guys who I was passing, he said that they started at 7 a.m. today. I think he said from the beach, which means they rode to Granada for like 2 hours, because I started around 9. Yeah, maybe that's possible. I'm not sure, I will need to look up the map. So yeah, it's like almost riding on the highway. The views are amazing though. like these gray rocks. This is very different from what we see like in Alicante, for example. I was just passed by a car which looked like a zebra. So something I heard and now I saw with my own eyes, that this is such a big and suitable climb that European car producers are testing their cars here. So I was passed by a car which is, I don't know, it looks like something, could be like a BMW X5 or an Audi Q5, something that type of size, but I cannot tell what it is. Like you cannot see the actual shape of the car, and it was going very, very fast over the turn, so I guess they're testing them at elevation and also the turns, and it's kind of comfortable to go like that, I guess. The road is empty and wide. Yeah, 1500 meters to go. So far so good. I'm close to 2000 meters of elevation, meaning that I'm actually a lot above a lot of the clouds already. And it's interesting how it goes. It doesn't look super epic when you just look at the road, because it just goes close to some rocks. But then when you see the actual height, it's crazy. It's like all these mountains that you see when you're going on the highway past Sierra Nevada, and yet you're here. That's amazing. And yeah, so far so good. 1.3k elevation gain so far. Going quite easy. I think I still have about 2 hours to go to the top. I'm not gonna manage faster. And yeah, if it will get tougher, I would probably go even slower. But yeah, it's super epic. This is Granada, no? Yeah, I'm not sure. Probably not, because I'm far away already. But it's like I'm that high from where I started. .2k elevation. So far so good. Surprisingly, I don't feel like the air is thinner yet. I wonder if it might have something to do with the cadence and the fact that because of the big cassette, I can go with like 90 RPM on a 6-7% gradient with lower watts. 2,250 meters above sea level, and now this is officially my highest cycling in terms of elevation that where I rode. Now it feels it gets harder, especially if I push somewhere just a little bit harder. It becomes harder to breathe right away, and it's still almost 15k to go. So it's like this climb is like double the Tourmalet, and even a bit more. So twice the elevation gain and more than double the distance. I still have 1,000 meters of climbing to do over almost 14 kilometers. And it doesn't feel super hard on the legs. It just gets harder to breathe, and now it feels like I've been riding forever, which it's almost 2.5 hours of climbing. Now it's also officially my longest hard climb, because the longest in terms of going uphill was called the Tentes. I think it was a bit over 2.5 hours, maybe 2:45, but there, first 20k, it was like 3% gradient, so you just ride slowly. And here you ride slowly all the time. Now there's a couple of guys descending in front. That's a nice place to descend. That looked fast. And speaking of the scale of time in climbing, I will probably be going uphill for another hour and a half or so. And these guys that were just descending, they maybe started descending 15 minutes ago or 20. By the way this climb looks, like 7%, so straightforward. I think you can go 60k an hour at least. And it's not really scary or sketchy, and the road is not that bad, so you don't need to brake. So yeah, 4 hours, going to be 4 hours of climbing and very fast descent. I think maybe I will almost not need any drinking on the downhill, because it's going to be cold and fast. And in front this looks like a ski station already. Wow, a stadium that is over 2k above sea level. And there's some mountain goat. You probably cannot see it, with like big horns. Just stopped for some water at a cafe at 2,500 meters. Now I'm on the road where the cars are not allowed here, so it's completely closed. And you can see that the tarmac gets like quite a bit worse quality, but that also means that there's not going to be any cars. I've got 500 meters of elevation to go, so I'm at around 2.7, 2.8 now, and about 8k. This is so epic. It is so high, it's so epic. And takes so long. I can barely remember how was it at the bottom. And the wind gets so strong and cold that I had to put on the gilet. So yeah, I'll probably just stop talking until the end, because it gets hard to climb. Almost there, and I got to snow. Check this out. This is amazing. I think right now I'm about 3.1, 3.2k elevation, and there's just snow like that near the road. Just about 2k to go. So yeah, I think this is going to be the end for me. So Pico Veleta is right there, right up there, and this is the whole height. Just crazy. So the road goes quite bad further. There's 1k more, but it's complete gravel, and I don't really want to cycle up there because it's quite remote, and I don't really want to ride and walk for 1k. And the air gets quite thin. So I'm going to mount the camera and start descending. Okay, so I'm going to head down, and essentially the reason I'm not going to go all the way up is this road. Alright. It's quite bad, and I don't want to get stuck in a remote area on a road bike with a puncture where the cars are not allowed to go here. Yeah, so this section I actually walked. And so the actual road down is like this quite poor quality tarmac with some sections of gravel. And this is how the last around 5k are. So you can't really go very fast here. Now it's most important to not puncture on any rock. Yeah. 1 hour down is quite optimistic. Now there is some tarmac at least where I can go a little bit faster. It's not good quality, but at least I'm not, well no, I'm actually still braking all the time, but yeah, I just don't want to go fast. But at least there is some movement. I'm going like 25k an hour downhill and not 15 or 10 as I had at the top. The oxygen level surprisingly was low if I can trust my watch. It said it was 76%, which is kind of extremely risky and dangerous. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit incorrect, but still, I guess better to descend faster to the altitude where I would feel better. Well, I do feel good. I'm not sure why the oxygen level is so low. No, I want to say, except for the last 2 kilometers, there's nothing unrideable. Like, you wouldn't want to race it, but as an adventure, it's completely okay on the road bike. Oh, so I took a break to give my hands a chance to relax. And also to warm up a bit, because it's sunny but the wind is super cold. So yeah, now I'm going closer to like 30k an hour in some sections. So I hope that in at least maybe 20 minutes I will be past that cafe where the cars can go. because after that we have normal tarmac, and then the speed would be higher, and it's not as cold actually, and it's not as high. Okay, so 1 bottle of water left. I'm down to 2.4 thousand meters. My oxygen level, so it said that it was 76% at the top, which is extremely low, but now it's back up to 98. So hopefully there is no like damage or anything to my form because of that. So here come some of the people who are racing. Oh, I'm so cold, I'm just shaking. Not sure if I should just go through it. Okay. So now this is even a bigger road. So I just rerouted to start. This is something that, yeah, I don't know, it's not a Garmin, but I think the way Coros did it is actually quite smart, and for me definitely good enough. So I saw that there is a turn into Granada to the right, but I actually parked further somewhere on the other side where I started the route. So I just asked to navigate to start, and then yeah, so Coros uses just the phone and Google Maps API for routing. So it's whatever Google Maps would route to get there, which I think is pretty much good enough for these occasions where you need to just get back on the route or get to the start, which I sometimes do, which is when I change my mind and use a slightly different road. And in the Pyrenees, for example, I had a route planned from the city exits, and I never updated them for the actual place where we lived. So the way it worked is I would start the ride, and then it would navigate me to the start of the route using the phone. So yeah, I cannot go forward, which means I'm crossing the road into the city now. Okay. Oh. Now, yeah, so this is the route. Yeah, that's the thing. I have no idea where I'm going now. But that thing should navigate me to the start of the route, which is probably somewhere along this road. Ah. Okay, so it's through a gravel bike path. You know what? I don't mind riding on gravel for a couple of kilometers after what happened at the top of Veleta, and I think this is actually quite nice. So just 5.5k to go, and I think it will bring me almost until where I parked. So yeah, it's 2:30, including the stops. I think it's taking me about 5.5 hours in total, without stops a little bit over 5 hours, which I think was kind of a pessimistic, realistic outcome. But yeah, it's fine. I had no idea how bad the road is at the top, which affected both going up there and descending. And yeah, throughout the ride, I thought in the beginning that there is nothing epic about this ride, because it's 90 kilometers, or for me it's going to be like 87. It's 2.7k elevation gain, which is nothing of that is something that I never did, but finishing at over 3,000 meters elevation is actually epic alone. So yeah, I would highly recommend. I think this is great. I think the route that I took through Monachil initially is probably a better one to go up, because it's very scenic, it's very quiet road. There's some crazy gradients up to like 15%, but it's a very, very nice road. And then descending on the main road is also probably a better way, because you're just getting back faster. And the road through Monachil, I think it's not as comfortable to go downhill over these 15% gradients. So what's left for me is just to have lunch somewhere, and I'm gonna be driving home for the following 4 hours probably. So now the route says that I should turn left. I'm not sure I should turn left. Yeah, so I guess I do need to get on the other side of the river, which is fine. Is it where I need to go? Yeah, it's kind of where I need to go. Yeah, it's made so that you cannot actually ride through it, I guess, which makes some sense. I'm not sure that's a good idea, but let's see. It is some bike path. I'm gonna have to turn left at some point, so I guess this is why it's told me to cross the river and continue on the other side. This is so funny. This gravel road is not worse than what's at the top of Veleta. This is just nothing compared to the rocks that you get up there. So you just cruise along the easy gravel. And yeah, okay, I take it back. So ideally, if you're doing road cycling, then probably for the bike you might want to have a route that is planned just on the roads, but avoiding highways, and using just the bike paths is yeah, on the other hand, if it's like a proper bike path, maybe that would have been better. Anyway, see how gnarly I can ride. I should have just planned the route. Yeah, not planned the route, but actually made sure that I updated it, because on I usually do it on Strava. I create the routes and then I sync them to the bike computer, but yeah, once you sync them, if you update them on Strava, then they are not updated anymore. So you need to create copies and send new ones, which I didn't do, because I didn't remember where I synced and which version did I sync. Anyway, yeah, so Strava somehow does it okay. So it probably uses the heat maps of where people ride, and that's why it ends up planning the route for the road bike on the roads, and then for like a mountain bike, it usually doesn't do roads, it tries to avoid them. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, please. I never get them. Subscribe to the channel, because we have a ridiculously low number of subscribers, and this is the way for me to know if that is interesting at all. And I'm gonna see you later.